Trevor Sikorski is Director of Carbon Market Research at Barclays Capital and joins us now from Barcap's London offices. Trevor Sikorski, welcome to the programme. So just how long could this actually continue? Do you see this as a long-term trend?
It's a trend that's going to be around for a while, because any permits you don't use today, you can use in the future. It's really that weakness in the European industrial production figures that we've seen, although they've held up better than probably people expected them. But they are, it is slow growth. We haven't seen very much. So we've got a lot of carbon around. We've seen a lot of offsets come into the market this year as well. So it's been a little bit of a hothouse of supply coming in against very, very moderate demand, and that has pushed prices down, like you said, to the 2.5-year low. So we expect, to see very moderate pricing probably for another year or so before it starts to tick out.
And it's the usual suspects, I could call them that way, the really indebted countries that perhaps are flooding the markets with these permits that they don't want. Greece, for example.
Certainly Greece has been selling, and doing some sovereign sales from the new entrant reserve, which is a pot of allowances that countries put aside right at the beginning of the phase in case you have some new industry coming on board. Greece hasn't really seen that, so that general weakness in Greece has allowed that government to sell a little bit more. But it's not a commodity they can just produce. Certainly all of the cap is very sacrosanct. It was agreed, back in 2007 across the EU member states, and you can't really put in any more into the market than what that cap does. So what's really happened, a reduction in demand has freed up some selling, has freed up, has provided a weak buy side, a strong sales side. We've seen prices go down. Like any market, it's not going to be around forever, but it is going to persist for a little while. And
what sort of green projects are at risk? Some of these are extremely expensive.
Well, that's the thing with a lot of these technologies, and the abatement in Europe. Europe's already reasonably energy efficient, so when you're starting to push carbon out of the European economy, it is to look for things which are a little bit more expensive than what you would think. I would say, the easiest win is just to build a gas-fired power station than a coal one. You have about a 60% reduction in emissions just doing that. But the utilities have recently gone very heavy into renewables. It's got zero carbon associated with that generation. It's a very good way for the utilities of getting their carbon content of their generation portfolio down, helping to reduce their future liabilities. They like it. They've been investing heavy. What I guess these low prices do, if it's going to have any kind of negative impact, is it encourages them to put off that capital spending for a couple of years until they see, the liabilities possibly getting better.
And Trevor, briefly, if you would, because we're coming out of time, I'm just wondering how the trading system might be adjusted to take into account what's happening. What sort of proposals are there, if any?
Well, there's a number of things in the background. I mean, we as a bank have always said, it's a commodity market. Prices go up, prices go down. As long as the environmental goal, which is the emission reduction cap, is being met, we should be reasonably sanguine about what the price is going to do. But there are people talking about something called a set-aside, which is to take a whole bunch of permits out of the market, put it into a set-aside. Possibly when the European Parliament is more favourable to adjusting the overall cap going out to 2020, then you could have a cap reduction and cancel those allowances. I mean, I think the issue with that is it produces a huge amount of uncertainty into what supply is going to be. It makes it very difficult to price. We would say probably better to live with some low prices at the moment than introduce something that uncertain.
Well, Trevor Sikorski, Director of the Carbon Market at Barcap, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.